welcome back. In the last session, we looked at how anxiety shows up in the body and how a fight, flight, freeze response can get activated even when there is no real danger. Now, in this short session today, I'm going to look at panic attacks. So this session is particularly for you if you do struggle with panic attacks on a regular basis or occasionally. Now, what we are going to be looking at is what they are, why they feel so intense, and then some good news, why they always pass. And then the last bit of the session, I'm going to teach you a very useful breathing technique. I call it the emergency stop. And this is a breathing technique which you can use once you start experiencing a panic attack or during a panic attack. And this breathing technique will help you to more quicker get out of that panic attack. Now, what is a panic attack? A panic attack is when the fight, flight, freeze response gets activated very suddenly and very intensely. Now, for many people, panic attacks happen when something feels like a sudden emergency. Now, let me give you some examples. So, say you suddenly find yourself in a very packed and crowded lift and you feel trapped and you've got claustrophobia. Now, I definitely recognize that one. Or you enter a busy supermarket and you've got agoraphobia. Or you're on a road trip and you suddenly enter a tunnel and you've got actually a fear of enclosed roadways. Now, in moments like these, the brain reacts instantly. Now, even before your logical mind has time to really evaluate the situation. So it happens really suddenly, you get triggered and boom, the intensity is there. Now, I've used examples with people who have got phobias because it's quite common for people who've got a phobia or struggle with several phobias to have experienced panic attacks. However, you don't need a phobia to experience panic attacks. So panic attacks can also happen after a long period of worrying, after a long period of being really stuck in the mind, imagining, worst case scenarios about this future event. And your anxiety slowly starts to rise. And then what we often see is that it peaks just right before that event that we feel so anxious about is about to happen. That is normally what happens. It's normally not during the event itself, it's just before that peak. And this is where you don't need to have a phobia, but you can struggle with anxiety, and when that peak happens, you could get a panic attack. Now, why does panic attacks feel so extremely scary? Now, during a panic attack, the logical part of the brain, so the prefrontal cortex, temporarily goes offline. And this is why you can't think yourself out of the situation. And your body has gone immediately and very quickly into emergency mode, even though nothing dangerous is happening. And this temporarily disconnects you from reasoning. And this is why panic attacks can feel so extremely overwhelming. Now, here's some good news. Why panic attacks always passes. Have you noticed that? They always pass, don't they? So even though panic attacks feel really powerful, can feel extremely uncomfortable, they cannot last forever. Usually panic attacks last between 5 and 20 minutes, and symptoms tend to peak around that 10 minutes bracket. And then the panic attack starts to fade. Now, you can experience a racing heart, shortness of breath. You can feel lightheaded and dizzy. You can also feel nauseous. Your chest tightens. You can also shake and tremble. Basically, the same physical symptoms as I went through in that previous session. The only difference is it just feels way much more intense. Now, a panic attack will always pass. Your body simply cannot maintain that high level of adrenaline for that long. The intensity rises, it peaks, and then it naturally falls. So panic is like a wave. It comes, reaches its heights, and then passes every single time. Your nervous system is actually designed to bring you back down. Now, a panic attack fades for two main reasons, and they kind of work together. Now, the first one I've already mentioned before, the body cannot sustain high adrenaline for too long, because adrenaline is released in short bursts, and your physiology simply cannot stay in full emergency mode indefinitely. So the intensity naturally drops. Now, the second reason why is because the body eventually recognizes that there is no real danger. Even when the panic attack starts suddenly, your nervous system continues scanning the environment. And after a few minutes of no actual danger, no physical threat, no attack, injury, or emergency happening, now the brain updates its assessment and signals the danger isn't real. So eventually the body will do it for you. So I used to struggle a lot with panic attacks. Not always, but particularly in stressful periods I had, or if there were big changes happening in my life. This is when I found both my anxieties getting worse and where I tended to have more panic attacks. And since I learned all the insights that I'm giving to you in this course and the tools, I've not had any more panic attacks. And the reason why is the moment you recognize that fight, flight, freeze is activated, you can actually calm it down. You can deactivate it yourself by seeing, it's just a feeling. Is there any threat happening here and now? No, it's just the mind taking something from the past. Something is happening right now and it triggers a memory from the past. It's nothing more. I'm completely safe. And if there would be an emergency, then it's okay if that fight, flight, freeze response kicks in. Then it's fine. Now, it is going to be some training. Once you get to module 2, it will take some training for you, these tools. Yeah, it's a process. So if you do experience a panic attack, I want to give you a really good breathing technique, which is called the emergency stop, which can help you to get quicker out of that panic attack. Now, during panic, breathing becomes very fast and shallow, right? I'm sure if you've experienced panic attacks, you recognize that. You start hyperventilating. Now, and this keeps the alarm switched on. Now, to interrupt this, you can use a very simple breathing technique, the emergency stop, as I mentioned before. Now, how you do this one is very simple. You breathe in 2 counts and then you breathe out 5 counts. Now, the longer exhale activates the calming part of your nervous system and signals safety. Now, let's just do it together. So inhale, 1, 2, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale again, 1, 2, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's as simple as that. And if you do this a couple of times, when you are hyperventilating, when you are experiencing a panic attack, it will help you to bring back and come back to that normal breathing again. Now, the great thing with this is as well is that you can use it discreetly. So you can basically use it anywhere. If you're on public transport, or say you're at work, or in social situations, you can still try to use this one discreetly. Now, one thing as well, which I've done for you, is under resources, I've created a little audio guide for you. So if you do experience panic attack, you can have this downloaded on your phone and you can listen to it. And you basically be listening to my voice and helping you using this breathing technique to just calm you down and bring you back into feeling safe again. In the next session, we'll look at how shame, avoidance and masking keep anxiety alive. I look forward to seeing you there.